The annual IAB NewFronts kickoff in New York City this week, where media owners from YouTube to the New York Times will hold breakfast, lunches and glitzy evening events to show off their most impressive digital content and ad formats in the hope of signing up commitments from ad buyers. Invites lost in the mail? Never fear, we'll keep you covered on all the important news from the week-long event. In the meantime, here's the official calendar of events. WPP's quarterly earnings were always largely a Martin Sorrell show, as the holding company's founder went into depth about not only his company's performance but recent events shaping the global economy. No Mr. Sorrell this time, following his resignation earlier this month. Co-chief operating officers Mark Reed and Andrew Scott instead stepped up to the plate. As for the results, they weren't great but better than the dim view analysts had expected. Like-for-like net sales declined 0.1% in the 3 months to March 31st, against the -1% analysts had estimated. WPP says it's maintaining its forecast of no growth in revenue this fiscal year. In the past, Mr. Sorrell was often quite dismissive of the idea that management consultants were proving a direct threat to agencies. Reed, however, said WPP and consulting firms are increasingly starting to compete for growth opportunities, and he speculated there will be more management consultants at Cannes Lions this year than before. To compete effectively, WPP needs to understand how to combine its traditional strengths, like creativity and client relationships, with new skills, such as data and technology, Mr. Red said. You can't always get what you want. When Mr. Sorrell stepped down from WPP earlier this month, analysts immediately began speculating about which segments of the business could be divested to create value for shareholders and reduce the company's debt. The Financial Times reported Sunday that WPP has been approached by private equity firm CVC Partners about a potential sale of its market research arm Kantar, a unit that had been proposed by analysts as one that would make sense to let go of. The FT reports CVC's approach came after talks between Nielsen and WPP about a Kantar-Nielsen merger broke down. The Times of London also reported Eric Salama, who has led Kantar since 2003, has been in talks with banks and private equity firms about a potential buyout since Mr. Sorrell's exit. Neither WPP, CVC, nor Nielsen are commenting on the specific talks. Asked about unloading Kantar, Mr. Reed told WSJ's Nick Costa this morning, "It's too early to speculate specifically on what we'll do." Speaking in Monday's presentation to analysts, Mr. Scott did say, however, that WPP will look at potential sales within its portfolio of minority stakes in companies. I have a stream deliberately getting ahead of the new fronts this week, YouTube announced Sunday evening, a play for TV ad dollars. As CMO Today's Alex Brule reports, from the fourth quarter, ad buyers will now be able to buy inventory for its YouTube TV streaming service on some U.S. cable networks through its Google Preferred program, which currently includes content from the most popular 5% of YouTube channels. YouTube is yet to reveal how many subscribers have signed up for YouTube TV, though, and scale is likely to be an important consideration for ad buyers. YouTube did say that TV screens are YouTube's fastest-growing screen, notching up 150 million hours of watch time each day. Also announced Sunday, YouTube said it would make it possible for advertisers to buy video ads specifically for TV screens. And coming soon, YouTube is introducing a new ad targeting segment in AdWords to reach light TV viewers, who you're more likely to find consuming TV and video content online, rather than through traditional cable subscriptions. YouTube is holding its annual Brandcast event on Thursday evening at the Radio City Music Hall. Bleeding Love. You may remember that throughout 2017, many of the advertising agency holding companies pinned some of the blame for their unsteady performance on consumer packaged goods companies pulling back on spending. Reporting its earnings Friday, Interpublic Group CEO Michael Roth said that bleeding is slowing down and in some cases it's stopped, CMO Today's Alex Brule reported. In fact, CPG was among IPG's top-performing client sectors in its first quarter, in which it grew organic net revenue 3.6%. Clients are always looking for efficiencies, but they're coming to the realization that you can't not spend on marketing and expect revenue to grow, according to Mr. Roth. That said, while ad spend may be returning, many CPG companies have found ways to cut back on the number of agencies they use or the fees they pay out to them. Holding companies increasingly need to find ways to prove to marketers that they are driving true value for their clients so that they are not just perceived as a cost. Best of the rest. Google said in a note to partners obtained by Ad Exchanger Friday that soon it will no longer let ad buyers use the double-click ID when using its data transfer service, which will make it more difficult to measure the reach and frequency of Google campaigns versus other platforms. Google said the change is part of our ongoing commitment to user privacy. Ad Exchanger, a look at how real people are turning their accounts into bots on Instagram, shows how they were using a paid service called Fuelgram to automatically like and comment on photos, including those from brands. An Instagram spokesperson said in a statement that, "We have a strong incentive to prevent this kind of behavior on Instagram and staff a number of teams to detect fraudulent activity and shut it down." BuzzFeed News, closing arguments for the Justice Department's case against AT. The grueling trial has shown signs of strain, highlighting the difficulty of challenging a merger involving companies that aren't direct competitors. WSJ Oath has hired former Snap sales chief Jeff Lucas as its vice president of America's sales. Variety, Ad Age's annual agency report is out. Ad Age Digiday's Anonymous Confessions series speaks to a marketer who says agencies caused marketers to bring more aspects of their marketing in-house. Digiday, About Us. Follow us on Twitter, at WSJCMO, at Lara Chiara, at VranaKSJ, at Alex Buell, at Ben Mullen, at Shrabble, at Asharma. Subscribe to our morning newsletter, delivered straight to your inbox, at http://on.wsj.com/CMO today. Sign up. Write to Laura O'Reilly at lara.o'reilly@wsj.com.